Really cool to see like multiple Astro talks on the Next.js conference. Love that. Also love that you recommended Astro as a new way to explore things. Awesome. I'm going to get right into it. I'm Elian. I work as a part of the Astro core team at the Astro Technology Company. I'm heavily involved in React Brussels and the Vue.js conferences, one of them being React Paris that will take place the 22nd of March. Not making any publicity, but just mentioning it. I do other stuff as well. Also devs.ghent, which is the meetup group I run in my hometown in Ghent. But of course, you're not here for me. Well, maybe some of you are. No? Yay! Yay! No, you're not here for me. But if you want to follow me online, of course, do so. You can do that on Twitter, X, whatever, Mastodon, all of them. I always use the same tag. So let's address the elephant in the room. What is Astro? Oh, that didn't work. What is Astro? So we always take this approach as being Astro is the web framework for content-driven websites. We say that with a reason. Astro is very comparable to frameworks like Next or Next. But we have a couple of weird twists and DX improvements that we made. And my goal today is to explain them to you in another way than we had done in the previous talk. There will be a little bit of overlap. Of course, it's the same framework. But I'll try to explain things a little bit different. So this is what the Astro syntax looks like. I'm not going too deep in that. We saw that this morning. Also note that this is TypeScript compatible. It's basically a superset of HTML with a little bit of JSX syntax in between. Important to note that it is not JSX, it's JSX-like, which is the reason that you also can use class instead of class name and all of that good stuff. Why do we say it's ideal for content-driven websites? Well, this thing, we saw it this morning. Yes, 0 kilobytes of JavaScript by default. We do this, we were the first one to do this, and it's super interesting, well, to take this approach in this kind of way. And how we do that is, yes, imagine we have this page in, let's say, Next. You're going to have a lot of JavaScript that you ship by default. Not saying that that's wrong, because it can be useful, but all the components here require JavaScript to render correctly, even though some here on the footer are just static links. What Astro is going to do by default is actually change that up and render it completely as HTML. So you serve only HTML and CSS to your users. Browser native languages, way faster performance, better for SEO and all of that. Now, of course, what if I need interactivity? I need buttons to work. I need some things to work. Well, we have a solution for that. Client directives. They will decide not only how to hydrate your component, but also when to hydrate component. Hydration meaning shipping JavaScript to the component or to the end user. We have a couple of them built in. Actually 5, I only wanted to show 4. But I'll explain all 5 of them. We have client load, which is just, hey, you see this component? Ship JavaScript. Then we have client idle, which is, hey, your browser is idle. You can start already shipping JavaScript to the next component, basically when the main thread is free. We have client media, super useful. It will only hydrate a component whenever the given media query is met. So only hydrate a hamburger button on a mobile device. Client only will just skip the compiler completely and will ignore it and will just ship your React component, whatever. So if we take that same application from earlier, the full HTML thing, and we add our client directives, we can see that we only hydrate some components and thus still are able to ship the same user experience, but with improved performance speeds. Also, if you decide that for you need something else to ship JavaScript, and you need some other reason to do it, this is completely an open system. You can build your own. And I have a great example for that. Ben built this. When you let developers roam free, they build crazy shit. This exactly does what it says. This will hydrate your Astro component when it's raining in New York. It uses the weather API, it fetches it and says, okay, it's not raining, I'm not going to hydrate my component. Cool things. We call that concept islands. Islands and partial hydration. Good stuff is that you can also put your own framework into it, being React, Vue, React, Svelte, whatever you name it, we have it. We even, well, the guys from Quick actually shipped a quick integration as well. So if you want, you can actually use resumability inside of Astro as well. Really cool. All of these features combined, of course, making Astro a blazingly fast framework, as we always say. Maybe a perfect fit for your project that you'll have to define for yourself. Now, 2023 was a crazy year for us. I think we shipped 3 majors. The first one being, Astro 2, whatever. Astro 2 with a new CLI. That was the first thing we did. We brought that new CLI, very familiar, made sure that you had all the options, that it was a clear and concise UX story. One of the awesome parts is that since we are so open source minded at Astro, we decided to release that as an extra library, and now other components and other users are actually using that library to improve their UX story or DX story. It's called Clack. The website is clack.cc. It's awesome. Collections, content collections we saw this morning, so I'll not go too deep on that. It's basically a way to work with authoring Markdown or MDX, or basically any kind of Markdown flavored language. I think Markdoc is also one of them. We use a well-known library for that to check all of the things in your, how is it called again? Front matter, sorry, couldn't find the words. That's Zod, you have heard of it. That kind of looks like this. So you get all of the auto-completion and all of that stuff. That's amazing. Now, of course, you've heard static rendering seems kind of boring sometimes. Sometimes you need just a little bit more. So with Astro 2. Whatever it was, we shipped a hybrid rendering. So you could just say, hey, this page has to be server-side rendered. This page is statically generated, whatever. And so you can actually improve the build performance for larger sites or add an API to your already existing site. That's really interesting and also really opens up the use case for Astro in a lot of new projects. Also, we upgraded to Vite 4 with that release and were able to gain performance out of that for free because the people from Vite did the work. Thank you, Vite. We also shipped a new design. I didn't notice if you saw this morning that there was actually the old logo. A new one looks like this. But a new design is not just for us. It's also for you as a user of Astro. We shipped completely new error rendering. If you have an error, we actually don't want the dev server to fail because that's super unreadable. What we did is ship that stuff to the front end, give it some cool vibe, and this is super clear. Like, what is going wrong? Well, in my blog, as you can see on the left there, the astrotutorial.mdx front matter does not match the collection schema. You instantly know where you have to look, and the exact error is, oh, title is required. I forgot my title. Done. Way faster for you to work or debug. We launched Astro 3 not too long ago. I want to say August. August this year. We did Vue transitions. We saw Vue transitions this morning, but I also have, I'll show you afterwards. I have a really cool demo of that, what's actually possible with Vue transitions. But the best part is that, of course, Vue transitions, I don't know how browser native you all are, it's completely baked into the browser. Well, at least Chrome, whatever. It's not there yet for WebKit and Gecko and Firefox, whatever. They're not there yet completely, but we're working on it. The cool thing is that Astro actually polyfills that for you. So your Vue transitions will still work, even though not really supported by the browser. It kind of looks like this. So you just make your MPA. This is a full MPA navigation. Full pages are reloaded, but still it takes a screenshot from the old page, screenshot from the new page, and transitions in between them seamlessly. Crazy. And actually, it was shown this morning, it's just 2 lines of code. That's the best part. We also enabled edge middleware, so now you can run on the edge, way faster, deliver content to your users faster. Again, opening up so many new use cases for Astro, that's amazing to see. Then we shipped image optimization. People asked so much for it. This morning was actually said that it wasn't stable until Astro 3, which is technically correct, but we did have a separate library for that. But by Astro 3, we built it native into Astro Core. It looks like this. So actually at the top, you can see the input. It's basically you import an image, and then we will take care of the rest, transform it to WebP, get way faster rendering performance. But of course, what if you want a picture? What if you want some more accessibility? Well, we have a solution for that. It's called Picture. And here, whoops, there we go. You can see that we define the formats. And you can say, oh, I want an AVIF as well. Because if that's supported by the browser, that's even better. And then you get this thing on the bottom here, which will output two sources. And then you're just getting the best out of it. Also, we did a completely internal refactoring for JSX inside of Astro and got major performance upgrades for free. Well, let for free. It's also on top of the 33%, so that's already incalculated. One cool thing that we were able to do with refactoring our JSX internals was that we were able to have fast refresh. Those that work with React Daily always probably know what that is. Basically means that you can keep the state while the HTML is updating. So as you can see here, let me go here, yeah. You see us typing, but there you see that the counter just keeps ticking without resetting. Because we all know how annoying it is that you are debugging a dialog, pushing on a dialog, and then you go change some code, and it just disappears again. Then you have to go through the flow again to get the right state. This takes care of that. Also, a really cool thing that we did was page partials. I'm not gonna lie, it might have been a little bit motivated by HTMX. HTMX is this cool new library, very memey, very fun online. But actually, we did partials not only because of that, but because of that, you are able now to use HTMX inside of Astro, enabling another new way of doing things. Then we wanted to do something new in documentation. For those that know us as Astro, we do a lot of documentation and a lot of real hard work in documentation. But sometimes something doesn't feel right. Like we were doing so much stuff inside of Astro to kind of hack it into generating static documents for us, generating so much different languages. It was really annoying to work with. So we tried to make it better internal, and we tried to add some things to Astro, and it actually didn't work that well. So when we started writing it again and again, we actually thought, hey, this is kind of becoming like a new full framework. So we basically built a whole new documentation framework and released it under a new name, and that is Starlight. So Starlight is getting used by a lot of projects now, and it's all on top of Astro. It's basically Astro with content collections, and then you can build anything up that. Why is that awesome? Well, you can just use your, let's say, React component next to a Vue component, still share state. All of the goodies that you have with Astro itself, you get with Starlight as well. Not to forget, since that we do a lot of documentation, that all of that documentation was dogfooding for this. So this is really a result of us writing docs for Astro and then building a framework on top of that. And then last month, I was really busy. I did 3 or 4 conferences, and in the meanwhile, we were releasing Astro 4. It was crazy. But we did some really cool thing. Someone earlier said to me, like, that's really good debugged. It was you, right? Really good debugging experience. Yes, it is. It is amazing. It's called our dev toolbar. Here you can see our islands. You can instantly see which one it is. You click on it, it will automatically open in your IDE. It's amazing. It really works well. It shows you what data it's using and all of that. But next to that, we also shipped a tool that is used for the audit accessibility issues. One of the most things that we see is people still forgetting to put alt tags in their images. And it's so easy to actually require it in a sense. You have ESLint plugins for that and stuff. But we just show it to you in a visual way. One thing that we also added that's not here is that you also are able to see which ARIA roles it has, are they wrong, all of that. The good part is that's also super open source, so you can build your own things. We have people now that have been working with us. For instance, this Storyblock team. We have now a full integration inside of our dev toolbar for Storyblock, so you can see your blocks inside of the dev toolbar, see which components they're using and how that works. Same for Spotlight, and one of the coolest that I use is the Astro Tailwind config viewer. So if you use Astro with Tailwind, then you can just see the full Tailwind config inside of the dev toolbar. Really amazing work. One thing that we have been experimenting with, and should be stable soon, is incremental content caching. A lot of people use Astro as the content-driven framework, which means you have a lot of content. Content collections are awesome, but one thing is the problem is that it can be really slow. With static generation, you basically, every build that you do, you rebuild your whole website. So imagine you have 1,000 pages and 3 translations. That's 3,000 pages that you're rebuilding every build. But what if only one page has changed? Why are you then rebuilding all of the other pages? Well, we fixed that with incremental content caching. And we use that on the Astro docs itself, because, as I said, using your own docs is probably the best dog fooding you can do. We saw an improvement of 80%. So I think this can really help us get even better. If you're wondering why Astro takes so long to render and build, our documentation is translated into, let me think, 11 or 12 languages. Not all of them are completely done, but it's insane, and we have a lot of pages, so good dog fooding. And then we actually did it. We completely redesigned our documentation and shipped it as being Starlight. Yes, there it is. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of cool work. It was fun work. We changed Starlight a lot because of it. We built features like expressive code. Expressive code is also another open source library that we built. And it renders your code prettier, in a sense. Really, really cool. And also the new Solid docs and Solid Star docs are using expressive code. So you can see, oh, that's my face. Hello. Okay, nice. Then we announced our ecosystem funding. Our ecosystem funding is something really cool. I'm really excited about that. I did a lot of work on it and with it. Our ecosystem funding is actually us as being the Astro technology company. We have some sponsors on Open Collective, that's completely public. We are dedicating $100,000 to other open source projects that empower and improve the lives of our users. For instance, we have one person that's building a lot of themes for Astro. And he got 10K in a grant to work further on those themes and develop himself, develop Astro further, and empower our ecosystem. So I hope we can do that further. Of course, this is not all of Astro. There is still way, way, way more. Way more than I have time for, way more than you probably are interested in right now. And that's not bad. But many people want to know what's next. And I really would want to tell you. The problem is we don't know, because we have an open roadmap. And that basically means that you tell me what we have to build. We have just this roadmap on GitHub. You make an issue, then we'll discuss it, we'll bring it a stage further, and then we'll actually build it, in case that it makes sense, of course. So I think that we're doing a really good job at developing Astro for our users, and not for our own use cases. With all of that, I want to say thank you, first of all, but also if you want to stay updated, we have a couple of channels that we use to update users and to communicate with users. One of them is, of course, our website at astro.build. We have our chat, which is just a Discord where we hang out, we do stuff together. We even hack together on sites, on integrations, on everything that we want to. And we also released a newsletter. That first one went out 2 days ago or something. So if you want to get updated about the Astroverse, this is where you should go. Thank you so much. But also, I have one more thing. You didn't think that I would get off stage right away, right? Sometimes we work on secret stuff. Because we are still a company, even though we're working in open source, we are a company. And we are launching something new, in secret still. But I can assure you, I can't talk too much about it. It's not a CMS. People thought that we were going to do that. No. It's also not serverless hosting. We're not going to take over Vercel. That's not our plan. It's something completely new, something different, exclusive to Astro, and it will give every developer on Earth superpowers. So we can't really wait to show it off, but I've got a little video playing here. I'll just wait for it to finish. That's basically it. It's called Astro Studio, and it's launching very early. Let's say soon-ish, as soon as we're done. But that's probably all I can say for now. But thank you so much, and if you have questions, I guess put them in the slide thing, and then we'll answer them. Thank you.